Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today, I am so excited to have on a 30-year-old from Rotherham, England, another goalie, since this is goalie week. He's a two-time gold medalist, taking the Great Britain team from the third division to the top. He's got 2 league titles, 2 playoff titles, 2 challenge cups. He was an import in Austria as a British player this season. He is now currently a member of the Nottingham Panthers, which makes me want to puke. He owns his own clothing line. He's got a similar body type to me, or he used to, and he has one of the greatest tattoos in professional sports. And he is the reason I am releasing the YouTube channel so I can put subtitles on this so people can understand his English. Ben Bowns, how are you today?
Not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. That's a bit of an introduction there, Wally. Jesus.
Oh, it wasn't that?
That's one I've ever had.
That's like my favorite part of the episode is when I can write all that stuff down and I'm like, man, I can't wait to say this.
And then it's all downhill from there.
No, but seriously, I've released a YouTube channel because you may actually have to see his mouth move to try and figure out what Ben's going to say here, because I'm pretty sure episode 7 with Dominic Hammer from Germany will be easier to understand than Mr. Bounds here today.
I don't know what you're trying to say here, Wally. I'll slow it down. I'll pretend I'm speaking to off.
I'm just kidding. I think your English is okay. If
proper English, that's what it is.
Oh, is that what it is?
Proper English.
So I guess the start of this thing. So thank you very much for coming on. I saw your schedule you sent me for this whole come back to play thing, and it made me want to throw up just thinking about all that exercising. I totally forgot how much stuff we used to do with our bodies. Like, that was quite the schedule you got for the next month, big guy. Thanks for making the time for me.
It's all right. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit mental, but anything for you, Wally? Anything for you?
Oh, thanks, buddy. I actually took a half day off work for the first time this year, just because if I can get Ben Bowns on the podcast, I'm going to make that work. And I wanted to enjoy the full experience. So I've taken my first half day of the year. Oh, this is great. So now I get into how we know each other, and I got a few notes written down. We won the Challenge Cup together, which was your first trophy as a starting goalie, and you won in your hometown, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And last time we saw each other would have been Wally night when I came back. I guess it was 5 years later, and you were still the starting goalie, breaking all the records. And you had to sit through another one of my pregame speeches, eh?
Yeah, I think my final memory was you walking naked past me on the physio bed into the shower to try and get that paint off you.
Yeah, that paint didn't come off for days, man. We had to get the paint thinner out in the hotel room to get it off. But here is actually probably the highlight of how we know each other. And I think you'll have to tell the story, because I'm pretty sure I told your granny what was up one game. Did I not?
I think you might have, actually. You might have. I can vaguely remember saying something about it.
I remember, so I had just gotten injured and I was dealing with that. And there's enough negativity that I believe it was either your mom or your grandma. One of them was beside me and I didn't know who they were during the game. And they didn't have a lot of positive things to say about my friends on the team. So I let them know that I would like to hear more positive thoughts. And then you said something to me at practice on like the Monday or Tuesday, like, hey, I just wanted to apologize for my grandma.
It was my mom. It was definitely my mom.
Oh.
Yeah, because she's got a reputation. I've told her to keep her mouth shut a few times.
Well, you know what?
She gets too stressed.
Maybe it was our back checking. I couldn't imagine being the mom of the goalie, because you know what? It does depend a lot on how the other guys play. So I get it.
We're letting a lot of goals in that game as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I said something I usually wouldn't. I just was having a hard time that day watching the games because I just got hurt and I wasn't enjoying being there and watching everybody else play. And I'm still sorry about that one. But I don't think I was that rude.
Hey, you did me a favor anyway. It means that I didn't have to tell her again.
Oh, man. So next question is, where are you now?
Right now, I'm in my parents' dining room. I was going to go out in the summer house because I'm staying with them during this elite series. I'm only an hour away from Nottingham, so if I'd have been up in the hotel with some of the guys in that bubble, I would have been away from Jade and the dog for like 12 weeks because we'd have GB straight after as well.
So you're allowed to leave the bubble?
Yeah, so it's still strict. You're not really allowed out in the public, but I have to test every morning before I leave.
Every morning they shove it up your nose?
Yeah, well, I have to shove it in my nose. I have to shove it in my mouth and get my tonsils, and then shove it in my nose. Do the test, and it's all like they have an app and everything like that. You have to hook onto and report your test and report it to your COVID officer, which is our physio in Nottingham.
Holy moly, that sounds very different than when I was a hockey player, and there had to have been a lot of viruses living in the BBT that year, eh?
Well, you're just a season in the BBT and you're immune to everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're immune, because if you could get through that season, you ain't catching anything.
We made it through too.
Maybe that's why you're looking. Maybe you actually did catch something, because you're looking a lot skinnier now.
Yeah, that's just so I can keep up these days. It's got a lot faster.
I know. I couldn't imagine. I remember when you used to have a similar body type to me. That was one of the notes on here. Was that I always battled with the goalies for fitness testing championships, and you were no different back in the day. But it looks like you've turned over a new leaf, huh?
Yeah, I had to put some effort in, especially when this knee blew up.
So what happened with your knee?
With the knee, I just one of my players pushed while we're kind of backtracking on the PK. I think he got beat off the wall, and as their guy cut to the net, he just hammered him, and the guy hit me, landed on the knee. And to be fair, it was a heavy hit, but I absorbed it pretty well. I'm not exactly a small guy, so I could take it. But then it was sat on my knee while I was obviously bent backwards, and I could feel the pressure building, and then it just popped.
So what popped? Meniscus?
So no, I tore my MCL and partially ruptured my ACL.
Okay. I was a PCL guy. It's weird when you're done hockey, how much you know about injuries, and you realistically could almost be a doctor with how much we learn over his career, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
PCL is rare though.
Yes, very rare. You got to have a very special physique to hurt that one. Well, I'm glad to see you back playing, man. I know that's hard. I went through knee injuries, and it sucks, man. Having to watch the games, and then they probably brought in a new goalie, and you're like, is he taller than me? Is he skinnier than me? Do the guys like him more than me? And it's tough, man, because I remember when I hurt my knee, they brought in a 5'6" right-handed shot right winger, and I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, we brought in a prospect from Edmonton. So Edmonton Oilers prospect called Olivier Rodriguez, just 21-year-old, moves unbelievable, so technically good. And you're just looking at it thinking, well, first, I wish I could move like that, and secondly, what's going to happen to me if he's still here when I come back? But then, luckily for me, it wasn't luckily for me. It was kind of bad for me, but results went pretty bad, and I was supposed to come back maybe end of January, and they asked me to come back 3 weeks earlier. Well, 2 weeks earlier, and then Edmonton also recalled him, which bumped it back another week, or forward another week. So I ended up coming back 3 weeks early.
You came back 3 weeks earlier than you should have?
Than what was expected. I was cleared to go, but I hadn't done a full contact practice properly.
Well, I just want to tell you my story, since I'm done now, and I still regret this. Was when I was back, and when I first hurt my knee, I only partially tore my PCL. And I went to 3 different doctors, and sure enough, the team and myself decided to go with the least amount, which was 4 to 6 weeks instead of 6 months surgery or year. We obviously go to with 4 to 6 weeks. And then we're like, well, let's go with 4 weeks, right? As soon as it's 4 weeks, I'm sure we're fine. I never even went back for a second opinion after the 4 weeks. And I lasted 4 games, and it completely tore. And then I missed an entire year. So, I know it's stressful when you're hurt in Europe, because there's only so many jobs. And now that would have been your first year as an import, right? So you would have felt the pressure, right?
Yeah. 2 games in 1 period. Well, it was 11 minutes into the first period, I think, of the third game when it happened.
Oh, so then did you you ended up coming back though?
Yeah, we're out for 15 weeks. So they originally the stretching me off and everything. I stood up and you could feel it. You can feel it, can't you? There's just no stability there. So I stood up and no, can't really move much. Put me on a stretcher wheel, and the doctor tested the MCL, the ACL. I said, they're both gone. You're going to need surgery. It's going to be 8 to 10 months. So I'm thinking like, shit. Like, are we allowed to swear on this, Wally, or not?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're
PG.
PG-13. Yeah, no, there's some F-bombs. It's really whatever you want, bud.
That's all right. Yeah. So you're thinking like, shit. It's like, that's it. I'm done. Like my first chance. I'm done. Going to be back home next year. Going to be back home in a few weeks. Not going to keep me around. And then when we went for the MRI, it weren't quite as bad because the ACL was just a partial rupture, which is still bad enough. So they got me some plasma injections, you know, where they take blood from you and put it in some like ridiculous machine that spins it. It separates the white blood cells from the red, and then they inject the white blood cells back into the injury, like into the worst affected area. And it's supposed to speed up healing. So I had that done. The MRI showed that it wasn't as bad. So they said, providing that the injections work, I had to have 2 of them, and I kept everything strong. I might get away with surgery, but I had to wait until the MCL fully healed after 8 weeks for them to be able to test it. So it was like a long 8 weeks.
So the MCL is the one that like hurts going back and sideways, right?
Yeah. So obviously I need that as a goalie because every time I drop, I'm using it.
Well, I can't imagine being a goalie and hurting your knee because like me as a forward that was just working the half wall, dusting it off. Like, I couldn't imagine having to do the stuff you guys do. Like some of the highlights I've seen of you over the years now that I'm back in Canada, I'm like, how does he still move like that? Like I get hurt watching you.
That's why I had to lose weight.
Oh, well, it makes sense. Yeah. I tried to.
You're your hips definitely feel it as you get older, and then you realize that maybe I should shed a few pounds, make it a bit easier on the body.
You're only 30. You're not that old. So, okay, I guess I don't even know where we're at in this show and my like schedule because I think we've just been talking. But so you played in Graz for the 99ers this season. So you got hurt, you came back. Overall positive experience or no? And you don't have a contract with them for the next season? Are they done or what happened?
Yeah, they told me in the exit meeting with the GM that they were going to go a different direction in the goalie department next year. But I think it was a life experience for sure. Definitely a life experience. You like you said, with those injuries, you learn a lot about yourself and your body. And obviously, Jade did a lot to get me back on it. So you learn a lot about her and our relationship as well. So we can still come through that and still chirp each other. So that's good. But no, it was positive. Overall, it's made me want to play in Europe again because I really enjoyed the hockey. The standard hockey was great. It's obviously a shame about everything else that happened, but I mean personally as well. I went in the 2 games I played before I got injured. I was playing really well, and I came back and including those games right at the start. I think I had something like 13 starts, and we had 1 game where we got absolutely shellacked by Dornbirn 7-1. And that was just one of those games where you're not even playing bad. It's just there were 2 goals that hit people and hit me. One of them hit me right in the face and went in while I'm like diving, coming across for a rebound, and just nothing went your way. So yeah, you had that 1 game, and you take that. I know you can't erase stats from your performances or from your statistics and stuff or games from it, but you take that out of the equation, that 1 anomaly, and I actually had like a top 4 save percentage, and I think it was something like 2nd best goals against average. So when you look at it that way rather than overall and not being back, it kind of puts your mind at ease a little bit. Like, yeah, I'm performing as good as what I thought I was at the time.
Yeah, and when you're going through an injury too, like it's completely different than when you start a season, you go through training camp, you're feeling good, and you go for a few months and you're just in the groove and you're into the season where you're taking a break for that long and trying to come back. It's not easy. And I get it. But when you talked about your relationship with Jade and going through the knee injury, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because we had just gotten married when I had my knee surgery. And there was a time where my feet were ticklish and I had to wear this boot that I couldn't shower with for like 3 months. and Lisa was cleaning mold off of my toes, but I wouldn't let her because I was too ticklish, and it became a real battle, and I had mold growing on my toes. So I get the knee injury stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she obviously, with her background in sports rehab, she came in real handy because just the medical stuff out there. Just one guy who was like a physio and S&C coach, and well, it was, I think he was studied in sports massage or something like that, and then he did like personal training. So he had 2 jobs to do, and he didn't really have the time to work on you and things like that. So I'd go home, and Jade would work on me on the physio bed that she had over there. So without her, I probably still wouldn't be playing.
Well, I think it's awesome. So you avoided surgery and you're back, baby. So so this is not skipping ahead because it's what's happening right now. And I guess that's where we are. It's where are you now? So we went through Graz. I think we've covered that other than DOUCE, but realistically, not many times in a hockey player's career did they get drafted first overall in any league, and you were just the first overall pick for the Nottingham Panthers. Puke, because there's no Cardiff Devils, but that's fine. I believe I'm a Manchester Storm fan this time, but you might be able to convince me otherwise. Go ahead.
Oh, we have the same color as your logo, so it matches our jerseys pretty nice. As your
Well,
as your two Ales logo.
Yeah, no, I
black
don't
and
know.
gold.
I like the Storms arena more. I feel the Nottingham arena doesn't have that much personality, but
the Storm's like a rip-off Big Blue 10. The Storm
yeah,
shell.
that's why I like them.
But no, I mean, I'd been in constant talks with Sheffield and Nottingham actually, and I know Finn had talked to DOUCE a few times, and yeah, it was kind of funny. It were really strange. Obviously, like they're talking you, and you're like, I've got no control over where I go. I go wherever I get drafted. So that was kind of strange, not having any control of where you're going. And then when DOUCE said that he'd put a trade, now, like, oh, this could be interesting. So it were a funny week. You go from being told you're not back at a club and being down, and then you're eating your meal. We had like the little draft up while we're eating we had some pie actually. So we were eating some pie, and Todd comes up on the screen doing it all, and it comes first overall. Like, oh, there's been a trade. So it went from being pretty down to being up in air again. It was nice to have that feeling back.
Yeah, you get your swagger back when you get drafted first overall, eh?
Yeah, definitely try.
So you're looking forward then. So that's getting started. Now I saw your schedule and I'm still sick to my stomach looking at how much you guys have to work out. Who is your coach there, and how's all that been going?
We got Tim Wallace as a coach, but DOUCE is a hockey head of hockey operations. I don't know what his exact title is, but he's got one of those fancy ones. So yeah, DOUCE and Wally run it. And then they have an S&C coach and a physio, and the S&C guys doing all the workouts. So yeah, that schedule come through, and DOUCE put on there basically, if it looks like a lot of hockey, it's kind of because it is. And then I opened it and I was like, I think that's more than a lot of hockey. That is crazy.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I would have been participating in the bubble when I saw that schedule.
At least it gets ready for the Worlds. Getting in tune for ready to take on the big red machine in our first game.
Hey, at least you still made time for the pod, even though like in a few days you probably won't be able to walk or anything. Okay. I guess the only other thing we have to cover, and I you know what? You're probably expecting this question. This is before we get into your childhood. When I met you and you had the similar body type to me, you also would get up on that massage table and show us your low back tattoo. So what is the tattoo of? And tell me the story, the age, and what was going through your effing mind that day.
Well, I always wanted a tattoo. And then, but I wanted it to mean something, like everyone does. But at the same time, my grandma hated them. So I needed somewhere that you can't see. I had no idea, like, what the hell a tramp stamp were or anything like that. No idea about tattoos. And it was actually a friend who did it at the time. So you'd have thought it said, don't have it there, like have it on the back of your shoulder or something. And you should have seen the size when he first drew it. And he's like, we're thinking this big. And I'm like, Jesus, that's like almost half a back. So I'm like, no, I need it smaller. Yeah, it ended up being a pair of pads, like a retro set of goalie pads. I ran with the Olympic torch. when that was in London. So I've got a torch on the back to symbolize that. And then it was going to be a white rose for Yorkshire, but he said white won't stand out on your skin. So because Sheffield junior system played in blue, we did a blue rose. And then I'd played in number 21 all my life. So we had number 21 on there. And literally that year I had it. And then camp started maybe, I don't know, a week later in Hull. And I was number 33, so I wasn't number 21 anymore.
Right when you got a brand new Tramp
Right
Stamp.
when I got it, yeah. I got a brand new Tramp Stamp, all shiny.
So that meant a lot more than I realized. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I thought it was a butterfly, but well, it sounds like it makes more sense. It's just, the placement of the low back. At least now we've heard the story and we can all move on. But folks, if you've ever played with Ben Bowns, you'll never forget that tattoo.
I used to love showering with it. used to polish it for me in the shower. And then when Merds came over, he get jealous, so I had to let Merds do it instead of Martin.
Well, I you know what? It's good you can even have one there now with all the hair growth at this age. I'm not even sure you'd see one on my low back. Okay, where are we here? That just made my day that we can air that out there live here on Two Ales and Hockey Tales. So the tattoo story is over. We know what, we know why, and we know where. So fans in the UK that are just going crazy that the Patrick Waugh of the UK is on my podcast. Guess what? Now you can always envision where his tattoos are too. Okay.
You know what's under the sweats. Every time I'm pulling my shorts up when they fall down, you know what's behind it.
So what was minor hockey like in the UK? And I checked out Elite Prospects and it kept calling your team the Midlands. What does that mean?
So the Midlands were, that's a conference team. So basically, there's a conference tournament at the end of the year where all the best players from each area kind of play. So my junior career was in Sheffield, like from 6 to 21. But from 7 to 17, I played in this conference tournament every year at the end. And my region was the Midlands. So we'd have like Northern, Midland, Southeast, Southwest, and then Scotland.
So that's a pretty big area of England is the Midlands, is what you're saying?
It's like Sheffield, Nottingham, Birmingham. I'm trying to think of the other teams that were in it. Telford.
And you all make one team and then go play.
One team, yeah. So it's like the best players in that region, in that area.
Okay, yeah.
So, and then you play against the best players in the north, the best players in the southwest, which is Cardiff's area, and the best players in the southeast in Scotland.
So here's a question for you, because I actually find it interesting, because I used to always think that the weirder the goalie was, almost the more success he would have. And to me, I don't find you very weird at all. And that's what really throws me off kilter, that your career has gone the way it has. And now you're going to be I don't want to pump your tires too much because you're just getting your swagger back. I don't want your tires to pop here, but like you will be remembered as the greatest goaltender ever. Is that not weird to hear?
Yeah, I think Patrick Waugh might have something to say about that.
I mean, in your from where you're from, like, yeah, Canada, we're not sure who the best is ever. There's no doubt in the UK. Like, it's not even up for debate.
If Carey Price gets a Tramp Stamp, he'll be best.
Perhaps he already has one and we just have never talked about. Maybe he's never gone on a podcast, so nobody knows he has a Tramp Stamp.
But no, it's pretty cool. I've without trying to sound big-headed, like you do kind of hope that you are remembered as that. But I definitely think that I should be in that conversation at least. You know, there's still been some British goalies like Stephen Murphy, Stevie Lyle, that are more my era, that have done a lot as well. But I think what we've achieved has been pretty cool so far, and hopefully I've got another 5-8 years left. Maybe even 10 if I lose a bit more weight.
Yeah, but if you keep getting skinnier, there might be a lot more net to shoot at. I don't know. I remember when you had the big old pear bottom, and it was a little tough to get it into the corners there. I guess we're jumping ahead because we were talking about minor hockey, but I kind of want to bring it up now just because it is the coolest thing I've watched you do in your career. And that's why we're even discussing like that your minor hockey. I think people will appreciate what it was like when they actually hear your background, because people in Canada that listen to this may not know everything you've done. I played with you in Cardiff. I then come back to the real world and I'm grinding it out, except for today because I got a half day. Thank you, Ben. But I see. So I watched you guys play for GB when I was over there, still in my school, and I believe you guys lost in like the final game, right?
Yeah, we did it twice in a row. We got so my what would it be? My first year, I had 2 years where I was like the emergency goalie, where it's like you take three and you just sat on the side. That was in 2021, and then 22 I backed up and we got relegated from that division. And then the year after I took over the starting role because Murph was ill.
And what age? What year is this?
So this would have been
When we're in Cardiff, right?
22. Yeah. So this is just before Cardiff. This was my second year in Hull.
Okay.
That I took over the starting job. Murph was ill, so I took over, but we'd lost the game. We were kind of out the running. We ended up coming fourth that tournament, I think. And then so your first year in Cardiff, we actually went to Eindhoven, just trying to rebuild, and we beat Korea, who was supposed to go. They were supposed to go up, so we beat them. We're in the driver's seat. We played Lithuania of all teams, and we lose that final day. And then the year after again, we did the exact same thing. We had to draw or better, basically, against Ukraine in Zagreb, and they scored, I think, with 2 minutes left to put them up 2-1. So 2 years in a row.
I remember watching it because those were the 2 years I was in Cardiff. 100%. That was when it was. I was watching and I was cheering so hard for you guys because for me, I never even sniffed playing for Team Canada. Like not even for any type of, I played roller hockey for them, but like, what does that mean? Like in real hockey, like not even close to anything like that. But to see you guys get to do that for your country and then you guys actually win and you're the starting goalie.
We absolutely dominated that year in Belfast as well. We didn't just win, we absolutely dominated.
It was in Belfast? So that's when I'm back in the world. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the year after you left. And I think we beat a few teams in double figures. It just dominated. And then who did we play? Japan. The last game, we beat them 4-0 to go through. And everyone thought that they'd beat us, just killed them.
And that's, I remember when it happened for you guys and I thought, wow, that is so cool that they have that memory because winning, whether it's the third league, the second league, like at winning anything, it's like when people talk about, well, there's only the Stanley Cup. Well, every year in the UK, we're playing for our Stanley Cup. Yeah. And when you guys win that to go up to the second division, I just thought, wow, that's really cool. They'll get to play against that next group of teams, but then you guys won again.
Oh, the way that we did that was ridiculous as well. Like, I think 15.8 seconds, the Farms equalized, something like that. And yeah, that went nuts. That atmosphere in Hungary is still the best atmosphere I've ever played in. Absolutely amazing.
That was in Hungary that you guys went.
Hungary, yeah. We were in Budapest and we played Hungary. If they won in regulation, they went up. It was a really strange tournament. The two bottom teams could both get promotion on the last day. I think it was 4 out of the 5 out. How many teams is there? There was only one team that couldn't get promotion on the last day. And even the game before us, it was Italy against who were they against? Italy against, I can't even remember who Italy were playing, but basically for Italy to have a chance of going up, they had to either one of those teams to have a chance going up had to win in regulation. And with 2 minutes left, it was still 2-2. So they pulled the goalie, and it almost ended up as a 6-on-6. And Italy scored with 2 seconds left into an empty net. And then we go and end up playing against Hungary and go 2-0 down, and then pull it back, and Farm scores with 15.8 seconds to put us in Italy through.
I remember seeing the highlight of that goal, and it just looked like absolute chaos. I didn't realize the other story about the other two teams pulling their goalie. You know what? I think what I would do is wait for the other team to pull their goalie and try and get one on the empty net. But that's
basically what they did. I think Slovenia, that were the teams. Italy, Slovenia.
Slovenia. Yeah, they had the guys
Yeah.
that used to play in Bietigheim. That's what's weird for
Yeah.
me is seeing those world championships to me was more interesting than even sometimes watching the top flight because I knew all the players and I got to compete against them. So I kind of knew where I would stack up with everybody, which was cool to me.
No, it's different. It's like, and playing in Europe now, like this year in Graz, if we get knocked down, we'll see all those guys I've played with for a year. And you'll play against guys that you've played against during the season, whereas right now we're not doing that.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about. We'll get into your career here, but this world championship thing, I think is well, the league titles or something, but so you now win the second by Farmer scoring the goal at the end, right? With 10 seconds
we
left.
we had to be tied, so we just basically had to take it to OT, and we were through.
And he scores with like 10 seconds left to get it tied. So then you guys go crazy, right? After a tie game. And then you're moving on. And then the next year you get to play. And I remember it because I was watching Big Ben Bowns stopping Patrick Kane on TSN.
That was actually a surreal game because we almost beat USA. Like if we'd have had a bit more like oomph about us, we could have really pushed them. I think it finished 5-3 or something like that. And we'd caused them some problems. Same with Germany as well. We just didn't think that I think we kind of had it in our heads that we'd just get hammered every game. And that Germany game, I think we lost 2-1 or 3-1. But we're right, and it was 1-1 with about 11 minutes left. And if we'd have just had that little bit more, we would have won.
So that's you're playing like Leon Dreisaitl's on Germany? Or
Draisaitl scored past me.
Well, no,
I think he scored either the game winner or the third goal.
Well, I thought it was so cool to see you played against those guys, man. It was cool.
Well, I've got a picture. I think it was Dean in Sheffield. I think it's the Sheffield photography. He comes with GB all the time. And I'm sure it's him. He's got a shot of me on the PK as we were, because we never stopped PKing because we couldn't keep up with anyone. And it's Patrick Kane watching his pass across, and Jack Eichel's on one knee, firing a one-timer, and the puck's like coming at my chest as I'm sliding across. And then Richard's trying to block it as usual.
Well, that's like, that's why I take a half day off of work just to do this podcast for free. Because, man, when I've seen your career and where it's gone since our time when we first showed up to the Big Blue Tent, and you were the goalie that they were like, well, can't win with a Great Britain goalie. You can't win without an import goalie. And you were the only one in the league. And I remember you not even being sure what was going to happen with your contract when the new ownership took over. And to see it all play out since, man, has been absolutely just, it fills my heart with pride.
It's definitely been a ride.
Okay, so what was the big goal then that Ben Davies scored? If we're still covering the World Championships, Ben Davies scored some big goal to do something as well, did he not?
Yeah, he scored a little goal to beat France and keep us up.
That's what it was. So that's when we're in the first league. No, sorry, I'm not saying I'm part of the team here.
Yeah. that's Pool A, yeah. And again, we were down 3-0.
And you guys came back and won in overtime. I remember watching the goal and I was like, no shit, they're staying up. Like, you guys didn't even get relegated.
Well, they had a chance. Just before that, they have a chance where the guy kind of wheels around the zone, cuts in, and my defenseman gets hit on top of me and it rips my pad completely off my leg. And the puck bounces to the opposite side, so I can't move. And the guy like shovels it. I just get my glove in it, and then they're just shoveling it into my armpit. And I'm just thinking, like, just blow it. And he blows it down. You know what it's like, OT, like you have one chance and then the other team goes down and gets another chance usually. So I'm thinking, all right, that's their chance. And then right off the face-off, they push the puck forward and it bounces over Ben O'Connor's stick. And they get another chance with a massive scramble in front. I end up like stacking my pads and just jamming it and then freezing it. And then we get the face-off again. I'm thinking, surely that's it this time. And yeah, Ben wins it forward. Jono goes chasing it. It's a weird play as well. Like, I don't think I'll ever see that again in my life. Cleanest face-off win ever forward. Jono gets it, passes it to Ben, and then that's it. Just celebrate like crazy.
Oh, I remember watching it, and I was so proud of you guys just because I would played against all you guys, and I knew who all you were. I thought it was It's I don't know, like they have the movie Miracle, right? For
for
the
USA.
USA, where that's them doing that. But for your guys' story for 3 years there, where you win gold, and then you don't get relegated based off of coming back down by 3 to score an overtime goal, like that might be more impressive than the Miracle on Ice, and people don't know the story.
Apparently as well, I don't know how true it is, but apparently we're the only team in history to go Division 1B gold medal, Division 1A gold medal. And then we were the first GB team in 25 years to just make it to Pool A. And then the first GB team from 51 years to stay in Pool A. But even back then, it was just full of Canadian imports. So really, it's like the first British, like proper British team to do it.
So did they change the rules or something that like, because you were all British players basically, right? There might have been the odd one when I first was over there.
We this last one, I think we were maybe 4 dual nats. So you have to have British heritage at some point, or you have to have heritage and been in the country for so long, as far as I believe. That's as far as I know, anyway.
Well, I think it's cool when most of the guys have actually played minor hockey over there, and that you guys have done all that. And like realistically, yeah, for hockey in the UK has the craziest fan bases, the most passionate fan bases, and it is wild to think that there aren't more parents trying to get their kids into hockey when they're also passionate about coming to the games, right?
Yeah. I think the price probably scares them off.
Well,
see
and
the kit.
now that I'm getting
the pound signs of football, you just need a pair of boots and shin pads for football.
Well, and the other thing I've thought of too is now that I'm getting older and I'm into a bit of real estate is like the price of real estate in the UK doesn't make sense to have hockey rinks, and to have that big of an area to put in an arena, like just to play minor hockey. There's no grassroots arenas because real estate on that island just is too much to have rinks.
Yeah. So no, it'd be nice to see a few more pop up, but I'm not exactly convinced that that'll happen. So it's there's certain areas where there'll be a lot of rinks, and then there's other areas where there's just nothing. I think Wales, I know we have Cardiff, and then in the north they have, I think, D-side or Flintshire, which is like on the border with Liverpool or Manchester or something like that. Like, yeah, Liverpool, I think it is. It's on the border with. I'm not sure.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but I don't want to start rumors on here, but your wife on Instagram, Ben, she wrote, because I was very upset when I saw this. She wrote, we realized he doesn't look that bad in orange. And I read that and I thought, what is she writing? You're not going home. Your home is Cardiff now, Ben. Ben, your home is Cardiff now. If you think you're playing in orange, it ain't in the UK. You got that, bucko?
You have to go to Jade. She's a boss now. Wherever she says I have to go.
Well, if you're going there, I'm not your fan anymore.
I'll let her know. You have to send her a message and say, what the hell is going on, Jade?
She wrote that on Instagram.
She'll just be pumped that she's been mentioned.
Well,
and then it's been noticed.
I read it and I almost threw up in my mouth a little bit. Hey, David Sims, because I asked Pigs what to talk about on this podcast, and Pigs wrote, why don't you ask him how David Sims said you could never win the league with a British goaltender? So why don't we ask that now while we're talking about this orange team, because they're a bunch of punks.
No, I think he wrote an article once about how you couldn't really win with a British goalie. But to be fair, after that, I think Murph won it with Belfast. Or Murph, maybe, I can't remember when. I think it was just before Murph won it with Belfast.
Is that guy still playing?
Murph is just, it was in Belfast, yeah, and he's in Manchester for the series.
Okay. Is that why they traded away the first pick? They didn't need you?
Yeah, exactly. They wanted the experience over me.
Well, they haven't seen your new body type. Okay, well, I don't even know what we were talking about anymore, but that was fun. Well, David, I hope I never see him wear orange for you ever. You're a Cardiff Devil through and through, and I know it. So I guess one of the questions is we're all over the map right now. But I wanted to talk, since we've done the World Championship thing. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the World Championships? And you obviously got to be excited for next year when this COVID, whenever this thing happens. Oh, is it soon?
Yeah, we got this elite series for like 5 weeks, then we have 2 days off, and then GB starts for about 5 or 6 weeks.
And where do you
in
go?
Riga in Latvia.
I heard that's an okay town.
Yeah.
So you're getting some you're getting some pretty cool experiences by being part of this team, eh?
Yeah, I was just gutted that we didn't get to go to Switzerland. We've been in the EIHL to like Bern and what do you go the first year, Davos, but you don't get to look anyway because you don't have time. So it would have been nice to have like 10, 12 days in Switzerland. Would have probably broke me with how expensive it is, but would have been cool.
Switzerland, we went through there a couple times, but yeah, you can't really stop to have lunch because it's too expensive, but it's a nice drive through. Okay. Well, then the next story I got here then is you grew up playing for the Midlands, which we discussed, and then we got really sidetracked with World Championships, but I think it is still so cool, and I can't wait to see you back on TSN when the World Championships start. I am the UK's #1 fan, and all you Canadians out there that are upset with me about that, guess what? I actually know all these guys, and they don't say no to their country like the Canadian guys. So smell that. Right, Ben?
That's exactly right.
I'm cheering for the UK, and that's that. So how did you get from the Midlands to breaking in with the Hull Stingrays? Because to have a starting goalie that's British in that league, it's got to be a bit of a jump for the GM to do that for you, right?
Yeah, like I say, I played at Sheffield from 6 to 21. It was the last. So when it went into the EPL, which back then was a second, that's what they used to call the second tier in Britain. They were full of a lot of prospects. There were loads of prospects there, like Lacko in Nottingham, Robert Farmer, people like that playing. Matt Haywood, who's in Glasgow. And it was halfway through the first year with the Scimitars. We actually I was playing for the GB20s, but against the Scimitars, and Hull was struggling for a goalie. And the coach came down with a couple of the GB guys playing for Hull at that time, and I think that they spoke to him about me. So the coach, which is Sylvain Cloutier, is called. Oh, it was called.
Goalie, no?
No, his brother's Dan Cloutier, the goalie.
Okay.
Yeah, Sylvain's his brother, the player. And he came to watch that. And after that, he asked me to train for like 2.5 years while playing with the Steel Dogs back in Sheffield. And then eventually made the move to Hull.
So then there's no import. But you're that's the elite league, no?
Yeah, that's the elite league, yeah.
And they don't bring in an import goalie. It's your net when you get there.
No, my net, yeah. So I went in there at 21, I think it was.
Wow, that's big for them to give you that spot. So Sylvain Cloutier is a big guy probably in your career, eh?
Yeah, massive. Just giving me that chance. And I mean, even after the first year, a massive learning curve, and then you know what you like, you're a young goalie, you finish off pretty strong. You're thinking like, I've got this now. This is easy. And got a little bit lazy. Got maybe a little bit bigger as well during the off season. Went back and then struggled the year after. And to be fair, he could have been like, right, you're done. You're not performing. But instead, he's like, get your act together. We don't want to lose you. Basically, we don't want to get rid of you. You're too good to just throw it away. So get your head out of your ass basically and work hard and lose a bit of weight and get back in it. And from that point on, we touch wood, not really look back. We made it into the playoffs. We beat Sheffield on the last day, so your favourite team, to make it in, but we knocked Cardiff out. That was the year before we went. So yeah, that's how it all started.
Well, I guess the only reason I say Sheffield's not my favorite team is because my 2 seasons in the Elite League, one as an actual player, one as a pregame speaker, both years we lost by 2 points to them for the league title. And they also fire a lot of players as soon as they lose a couple games. And you guys can try and dodge that, but that's real life, folks. They have sent more guys a packing than any other team in that league. And when they're your friends, when they're your buddies, and they have wives and they have children, and you just have a couple bad games, so you kick the garbage can and get upset and fire people, go fly a kite. That's my opinion. You better not wear orange, or I will come over there and I tell you, I will give Cardiff the best pregame speech and I'll slash your tires, Ben.
What happens if Joey goes as well?
The goat?
Yeah.
You stop it. You're a Nottingham Panther right now. We're gonna get this. Twitter's gonna go nuts after this. Eh? Nottingham, Sheffield, Cardiff, they're all gonna be fighting over your tattoo. Okay, where are we? Okay,
I heard the Tramp Stamp were a big reason why they traded as well. DOUCE wanted it in that dressing room.
I actually heard that's why every team wants you right now. That now that you've lost some weight, everybody can figure out what the tattoo actually is. Okay, so then how do you get from the Hull Stingrays to the Cardiff Devils where we meet?
Well, after my first year, when I said that we'd had my first year backing up GB, we'd actually knocked Cardiff out of the Challenge Cup in the group stage. It was the first time Hull had made it through from the group stage to the quarterfinals. So I can remember at the time, Brent Pope, who used to be a part owner, I believe, in Devils, he came away with GB and I sent him a message saying, well, when my contract's up, would you be interested, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of reached out first. And then the second year, after my second year in Hull, there was both Cardiff and Braehead that were wanting me. So, and Hull offered me something, but I decided I wanted a change, really. So with Cardiff being in that top division, or in the Gardner Conference rather than the other one. I can't even remember what the one used to be called now. They just scrapped them. I think what were we called? I can't remember what the divisions were even called back then, the conferences. But anyway, with Cardiff being in that and playing the big teams more often, I wanted to go there. So yeah, that's kind of all it started. I kind of touched base with them. And then the second year they reached out to me.
Now that you say that and you reached out to them and you took the initiative, that reminds me of when I got to Cardiff. Was my agent wasn't doing anything, nothing was happening, and he kept saying like, wait, there might be, and I just sent out a message to the elite league in the UK, and then I knew what their budgets were, how much they could pay me, if they were interested, if they weren't interested. I didn't wait for somebody else to do it for me. I sent them the message. I bought this house that I'm in right now the day I signed for the Cardiff Devils to do my MBA, and I had my plan in motion of getting out of the game. But it was because I took the initiative and I said, well, I'm not waiting for my agent. Like, I just sent a message, and then you find out if they actually want you or not. Like, you don't have to hear it through telephone.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it starts though sometimes. Like, you gotta be proactive, aren't you? That's the thing.
And you got to know what you want. And like, I knew I wanted, I guess, school, and I had kids and I needed out of the game. But yeah, the day I signed in Cardiff was the day we bought this house. And, yeah, that really changed things in my life. But so you would have had similar things. You're from Sheffield. You then moved to Hull for 2 years. Now you're going to Cardiff and you're playing in the big blue tent with me. And then that's when you start to realize maybe your potential, and Andrew Lord probably helps you a bit, eh? I know he was making you read books and shit, right?
Yeah, right at the start. I think I can remember after the first year, we actually got a cheap holiday to Mexico after that World Championships in the Netherlands. So we took that from someone whose wife had lost her passport. So we got this holiday, we went there, but we'd already booked a lodge for we'd been together for so many years, me and Jade. So I don't like calling it anniversary because you're not married. So, but anyway, you've been together for years. We'd already booked this lodge somewhere in the countryside. And I can remember Lordo sent me an email, and I told him what I was doing. He's like, I don't think you take this serious. Like, you don't know what it takes. And I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm just trying to enjoy my life here, Lordo. I've played hockey for like 10 months. Not a couple of weeks off. But yeah, Lordo definitely he knew how to push my buttons and had to push me on ice, really, and off ice. So yeah, that were he instills a lot of things in his players that helps you go a long way.
Yeah, he does know what buttons to press. I always told them that I felt like I had two wives in Cardiff. I had Lisa and I had Lordo, and he was exhausting. Oh my God.
I like to think that by the end of it, I knew how to push his buttons back though.
Oh man.
Probably why he got sick of me.
Oh, me not warming up and cooling down. That would get his juices flowing.
I usually just let one rip out the back of the bus as he pulled his food out of the microwave. And you see his face, you're like, oh.
He really didn't like farts, did he? He had a real issue with them. So that year, though, I guess I know you've won a lot of stuff, and your episode can't be 5 hours long. But your first year as the starter in Cardiff, you've been with Hull. Now you're in the, you could say, better conference with Nottingham, Sheffield, who have Coventry,
Coventry, yeah.
Belfast, yeah, like those are the big dogs, and we kept up with all of them, and we were a bunch of just dandies on that team. And what are your thoughts on that season? And I know how much it meant to you to be a starter and win in Sheffield the Challenge Cup, because you were a local boy that then goes there as a starter for Cardiff and shoves it right up there, right?
Yeah, it made it nice as well, just because of I had all the family there watching as well, so they'd been through it with me. And it weren't just like my mum, dad, and Jade and her family, but my cousins were there, my aunties were there, so it was pretty cool. It was really cool winning it there. I think the turning point for me though, he'll get annoyed with me if I don't mention him, but can you remember we were down in like 8th at one point, and Lordo kind of lost his mind on the ice. And I can also remember, I think we played in 5 maybe, and then we flew back the next night and we played Coventry, and I got pulled after 2 goals in the first period, and Todd just laid into me about letting soft goals and if I needed a psychiatrist. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, where did that come from? Yeah, and Todd did that. And after that, I reached out to Dan Bradman. You'll be able to remember him from like sort of coming on with us in the second year. And I said that after that moment, like when Todd kind of woke me up a little bit, and Brabs came on board and started helping me a bit more, that's when it really started turning around. And we went on a tear as well. We just went on a tear for the last half of the season.
Well, we didn't lose a game for a long time. And
yeah.
I remember Lordo losing his mind that one practice. And he was like, does this look like an 8th place hockey team to you? Do you guys look like an 8th place hockey team? Look around at what we got here. And then he really did change things that day. I remember that day too.
Yeah. When we first come in, they just briefed us with, right, we need to get the fun back. The club's been struggling. They missed out on the players for the first time ever the year before. Like, we just need to put on a show, like work hard. And then we did that, realized that we actually had some potential. And then Lord was like, right, I'm changing goalposts now. We're not an 8th place team. Let's get going.
And we weren't.
Yeah. And then we got going.
Well, yeah. So then it ended up being, we lost the league title, which is the regular season, by 1 game, which sucks. It was crazy we even got that close, because there were times I think we were out of it by a long ways.
Yeah.
And my goodness, did we climb that year. And when that team came together, like, there was never a bigger group of dandies as that year. Do you think?
No, I think we're still trying to beat it. I don't know if they ever will.
Well, you get like DOUCE as your equipment manager, which was your equipment manager in Graz this year. Yeah. So can I ask a question? Because he's coming on in the next week or so. And I want to know how he's behaving over there, because I was his reference to get to Manchester. I had a call to give a reference for David Owen, and I gave the reference, and then he goes to Manchester for a year. Then I'm eating dinner with my kids one night, and the phone rings again. It says Collingwood, Ontario or something. And I figure it's whatever. So I answer, and it's like, hi, I'm the head coach of the Graz 99ers, and I would like a reference on. And I'm like, what player is it going to be? Is it going to be the Marty? Is it going to be Hoth? Is it going to be Bownsy? And he says, David Owen. And I thought, DOUCE, like, that guy, I just helped him get a job in Manchester. What did he do? Why is he not in Manchester? And why is there a Graz coach calling me for DOUCE? So is he behaving himself?
He actually is. He's a lot calmer than what he was when he was back in Cardiff. Let's put it that way.
He's a little more of a
mature.
pro.
Yeah, a little bit more of a pro. I'll give him that. But you know what? You know, Dees, like sometimes he still crosses that line. And you're like, ooh, you probably shouldn't say that, Dees, or you probably shouldn't do that, Dees. But or maybe don't drink quite that much of that whiskey, Dees. But no, you know what I love about Dees is just his cares. Is just genuine about everything. I mean, he were awesome for us out there, especially when I got injured. I think he felt it as much as me. So yeah, it was nice being out with him this year.
Yeah,
I love him to bits.
I do too, and I'm glad that he's behaving himself. If I'm putting my name behind him, because there were some times where he might say a few things that just maybe crossed the line a little bit, but his heart was
rarer now.
His heart was always in the right place. And when that guy called me about DOUCE, I said, "Well, what type of room do you want?" And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, if you get DOUCE, I hope you want your guys to enjoy coming to work. I hope you want them to have fun. And I hope you want them to enjoy being a hockey player, because if you're wanting DOUCE to come in and then your room's going to be a bunch of robots like pro hockey tends to be these days, not that I'm in it or know what it's really like, but that's what I said to the guy. I was straight up honest. And I said, if you get DOUCE, it's going to be fun. He's going to be chirping everybody. They're going to be chirping him, but people are going to enjoy coming to the rink, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what he does. I mean, I think it's a little bit harder when you're with some of the Europeans because they don't quite have that British sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes them a little while to kind of warm to him. Some guys don't get it at all. So, but then he learns. But the guys that try to give it back, they end up losing pretty bad because he just has he has no boundaries. If you kind of stitch him up, he's going to stitch you up a million times worse. And if you do it even worse than that, he's going to get you more and more. I think obviously this is just a mild one for these, but the first day we were in Graz, we walk in, we got all our hold all bags with the tracksuits in and stuff, and I pick it up, Jesus, this is heavy. Get it home and it's taped like 2 big oranges and a cucumber together. So it's just looks like one big dick. And then I pull it out of my bag, I'm like, what is this? And then the dog bites the end of it. I've got a picture of Stitch like chewing on the end of it. I'm like, Deesh, you know that. No, that's why it was so heavy. We got some fruit and cucumber.
Well, that's actually when I went to, like you said, sometimes when you're in Europe, people might not totally get them. Like he's not in the same way, but with myself, like when I first went to Bietigheim, like they liked Wally and they liked I was a bit of a character or whatever. Yeah. And then, maybe I'm not for everyone, which is the song I listen to before every podcast. I listen to Brothers Osborne. I'm not for everyone. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not. And like DOUCE isn't for everyone, but what a beauty. And he's for me.
Yeah. And like I said, all that bothers me, all that matters to me is that he cares. That's it. It's genuine and he cares. Sometimes you just have to dig a little deeper. And you have to just look past it. And to be fair, like now, if you're telling me like Jesus, that's maybe a little too far, but yeah, you're probably right there. But you still want to apologize. He'll admit it.
Yeah. Sometimes he wasn't quite sure what was coming out of his mouth, but he's an absolute beauty. And I couldn't be happier. Everything's working out for him since I put my name behind him.
I think you need to start charging him a fee.
Well, that's 2 references in 2 years. So DOUCE, I'm glad you've found some steady employment. But you know what? Nothing makes my day more than when I've been in the real world for 5 years and you get a random call from like a coach or there's been a bunch of coaches, but like,
I'll tell you what is funny actually. So the first year is in Graz. So not this season with me, the season before, they had a team photo up on the wall. And obviously he never introduced himself as David Owen. And there's a team photo and he goes like, when it says from left to right or whatever, and it gets to where he is. And they didn't know in the office that his name was David Owen. So they took his Facebook name. So it says DOUCE Bigelow on the team picture. And he was so pissed off with it. I'm like, DOUCE, like you've got it on your Facebook, like, you don't like being called David Owen.
The actual Gratz 99ers team photo says Deuce Bigelow.
So it says Deuce Bigelow, yeah. His Facebook name.
Oh, Deuce, buddy. Okay, that could get us caught in a... Yeah, so we were talking about the first year in Cardiff, and Deuce, can't wait to have you on in a week. So Bownsy, so I can give the listeners the background here. This was goalie week. So I guess you're the best goalie I ever played with. And so you're on. And then as well as Scott Foster, the accountant that played for the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So
I saw that you'd done him, yeah.
Right. So that's my goalie week. And then Jeff Van Nyenat from junior is just going to have to wait like the rest of them. But next week is randoms week. That is not hockey players. That is my grandma is coming on at 89 years old. And we have a great time talking about cutting chickens' heads off and all sorts of stuff. And you'll really learn a lot about Wally if you listen to that one, Bouncy. But after that is going to be DOUCE. So we're going to go with grandma, which will be the most wholesome PG or G rated podcast, to then DOUCE, which will, I guess, be the raunchiest, right?
It'll be what? You broke up then.
The raunchiest? The like,
DOUCE, yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
I give that.
I'm nervous. Yeah.
Probably have to set some boundaries before you start.
Do you think that will help?
Just say like, DOUCE, this is the rules.
Do you think that will help?
Probably not.
Yeah.
It's worth just saying.
Well,
I can record it at the same time so you can see how many times it breaks and put it in the edit.
At least I did a podcast with my grandma before, though, so if everybody doesn't judge me too bad.
You're from innocent to DOUCE.
Okay, so we talked about our first year, and you won the Challenge Cup, but then we haven't talked about the rest of your years in Cardiff where I'm not around, and you don't have that shot blocking stay-at-home right winger like I was to really keep the puck out of the net. But you somehow... it wasn't the year I was hurt because my pregame speeches weren't quite enough to get us over the line, but you do end up winning the league title, not once, but twice.
Yeah. And then, that first year actually, again in Sheffield. So every time I've won a championship for the first time, it's always been against Sheffield, which is kind of funny. But that first one, we played in Sheffield the week before and I blew my ankle, tore a ligament in my ankle. But I got told it was a fat pad. So the aggravated fat pad. So I played in it for about 7 weeks after, and we went back the week after, took an injection, just local anesthetic, not cortisone, local anesthetic, played the game, and we managed to win.
What is a fat pack?
A fat pad, I have no idea. I presume it's like a bursa.
Oh, and it was an actual ligament, and you played like that?
Yeah,
with
tore a ligament in my ankle.
Yeah, goalies don't need ankles. All you guys do is catch it with your hands, right? You don't even have to move.
Well, I couldn't skate anyway, so
I've seen you try and stop Patrick Kane. Like, where's the positioning? You're supposed to be in the butterfly, and you're always like rolling around, catching it. Like, you know what I mean?
You gotta make it look fun.
Right.
That's style. Everyone's like robots these days.
It's probably because of the ankle. Yeah. Could go down in the butterfly.
Ankle and now the knee.
You'll be fine. Everybody's going to want to sign you, just not that orange team, because we're not taking offers, Bownsy. Right? Huh?
Yeah.
We'll see. So you're thinking, I actually, now that we're off topic here, because I don't really know what else to talk about other than the rest of your time in Cardiff. And then I guess your decision to go abroad and why that year. But we didn't really talk about the league championships and like what it was like to finally get over that hump. And when you finally clinched it, I think it was Hoth and Belfast or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I got the assist on that goal.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. That's my claim to fame. So everyone talked to Hoff and they're like, yeah, but I got an assist. We wouldn't have had that puck if I had passed it.
That's true. He did go end to end like Bob Orr, didn't he?
Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah, I can remember that. I can remember it 2-2, I think it was. And we were on the PP. They were rattled because, like Belfast always were, they never used to think that they should have got a penalty. You know how they used to kind of kick off all the time. And yeah, I can remember they were rattled. They iced it. And I can remember coming out and Hoff coming back shouting for it, so I give it him straight away, and he just turns and yeah, it just just blew through guys, just like cut around him and then shelved it. So if he couldn't make it any better, he shelved it. Like
I don't know.
Coast to coast, dangling and then shelves it. Like
I don't know
what's
if he was blowing past people.
Cutting past people and showing.
Yeah, no, he was.
Yeah, there we go.
He was twisting them up. But
yeah.
when I saw you guys finally did it, man, I was so proud of you guys, even though I was working in the real world and in an office. And but seeing you guys win was so much fun, man. I was so happy because I tried so hard, even when I was hurt, to try and win. You know what I mean? To see you guys finally do it. Wasn't it the next year after I was done?
Yeah. So that's the year we won it in Sheffield. And then the year after is when Hoth scored the winner in Belfast.
So you won 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, yeah.
And then it was the ridiculous one where you guys lost a game at the end of the season and Belfast wasn't even playing. They're not Canadian fans to the podcast that don't understand this. It's the regular season. Whoever wins it has the most points at the end of the year wins. Cardiff has 1 game left against one of the worst teams in the league to go for the hat trick for 3 league titles in a row. They piss it down their leg. I'm not saying it was your fault, Ben. And Belfast wins it while they're having their awards night. They're not even playing a game. And then all of a sudden they find out they're winning a championship. That's a whole different thing than winning a best of 7 series in Canada, eh, Ben?
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, it's still going to be nicer than winning it, but I'd hate to win it like that. Like you want to be on ice and celebrate.
Oh yeah,
we lost 2-1 as well. It was pretty crazy. But I mean, we had a few problems that year and a few big injuries. So I thought we probably shouldn't have been anywhere near that league title, and somehow we were. But then to have it in our hands and throw it away, that was pretty disappointing. To put it nicely.
Yeah, I know that sucks, and I don't want to bring that up. I don't want to get upset about this. So then after that year, though, I think is the year you're gonna win it, and then COVID happens, or no?
COVID, yeah. We were blowing teams away. We lost the final. The last game we played that year, we lost to Sheffield in the Challenge Cup final. But in the league wise, I mean, we blew them away on the Friday, like 7-3 or something like that. We were just destroying teams, and I think our win percentage were a good 4 or 5% more. So you think, the league's going to do it on winning percentage. Like we're top anyway. We're clear with about 3 games in hand. We'd have won it probably the week after, and the league decides to turn around and say, no, we're not awarding it this year. And you're like, how can you not award your main trophy? Like you base the full season on this league title, this championship, and you decide not to give it. Like it just blew my mind.
I was just as upset as you because I felt part of that team because I came from Wally night, and I got the team back on track in November. I heard the GOAT hadn't scored a goal all year. Bouncy they said, I don't even know what they said. They said Bouncy's being Bouncy and he plays every game. And then they told me the backup goalie was sharpening skates. And I was like, this is bizarre. Like Bouncy has played so many games the last 5 years. And now you're telling me that the backup is just sharp. Like he's the new DOUCE. That was nuts to me.
Mertz was unbelievable though.
No, he was a good dude. Great guy.
I mean, as a kick guy, is actually unbelievable.
So he was a good equipment manager.
Good equipment manager, yeah. It was unbelievable goalie and then an unreal equipment manager as well. I think he'd retired after that year from playing.
Well, when you're sharpening the team skates, it's time to shut her down.
I think he was thinking about not playing that year when they said, do you want to do it full time? Because when DOUCE left, we went through 2 equipment managers. And then Major were like, well, I'll just do it. So he did like probably half a season playing and being in goal. And they said, yeah, I'm not playing and being the kick guy as well. So he wanted to just move into being the kick guy full time, but they said, well, we really want you to stay and play and train because he's obviously that good. So we'll give you a bit extra money. So he did it for a year, and then he's like, yeah, never again.
And so then he was your backup, but he was also sharpening your skates.
Sharpening skates, yeah.
That is
I remember, I think we were in the Champions. It might be a Champions League game, and we're on the blue line, and Flunder across from us. And I look at Mertz, and his hand, he's just got like red all over his face. I'm like, what's that on your face, Mertz? Like, we're supposed to have the national anthem. It's like, it's blood. I'm like, what are you doing? And he like showed me his hand, and his hand was just like shaking. And he pulled a blade out and sliced his fingers, like his knuckles straight open. Turns out it sliced a tendon. So he had to have surgery and pull it back together and everything.
That
So he had
was
6 weeks out and came back to play.
that was when I came over. I think that Wally night he was still healing from that. I think.
Yeah, he still had the thing in his weird creepy hand on.
Yeah. I know, like I knew you had a heavy workload in Cardiff, but I didn't realize that you had that heavy of a workload that they were switching goalies to equipment managers. But I guess maybe that's why your knee goes. Hey, Todd, maybe give him a day off next year, eh, big guy? Because we're not going abroad. We're going back to Cardiff, right? We're coming home, eh, big guy?
Yeah, have to wait and see.
We'll get the rumors.
I'll give any
going.
secrets away, even though it's
we'll get
podcast.
the rumors going. I don't even care.
I've got yellow on my pants this year, so
since my podcast about me is the lowest listened to one, I'm starting to realize that I really not that popular. So can you try and help me out here and at least give me the story of when I came over for Wally night and you haven't seen me in 5 years, and then all of a sudden, like, so what goes through a goalie's head when Wally's doing pregame speeches?
Well, first of all, I was dead excited for Wally's got to do a speech. Wally has to do a speech. So I was all pumped up. That was the first game I looked forward to in a while, because we ran like a bit of a downer that year, like for a little while. And then you turn up and you run through and you got that paint all over you. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And the funny thing was, it was Shea Morrison's second game.
First
game. That was
right out of the NHL.
So he comes over here, is in his stall on the Friday morning or whatever, and I go and shake his hand. I'm like, oh, I'm Ben, how's it going? And then when he looks up, I'm in my Speedos with my Tramp Stamp out and everything. So that's his first impression of Cardiff, me in my Speedos. And then 2 nights later, he plays his first game, and you come running through with nothing on it, just pain. And you just
painted the Taz head.
What have I come to?
Yeah, I guess he never asked to come back after that season.
I bet I never saw Ovechkin doing that.
He had just played like 500 games for the Washington Capitals. His first game for the first week on the Cardiff Devils, Ben Bowns comes up to him in a Speedo and a Tramp Stamp. And then Wally jumps out of the coach's room wearing a Taz head, spray painted like the goat.
I can just remember you doing it, and everyone's like, yeah. And then like, as you left, it kind of died down, and a few of the guys were like, who's that guy? Like, I don't worry about it.
Dude, so as soon as it was over, Lord was like, you know how pushy he is. My second. Oh, he was like, Wally, I'm not joking. You got 2 minutes to get around the rink and you're dropping the puck. I'm like, I get it, Lordo. I take off the Taz head. I put on the jersey. I throw on the pants and I jog around. And then all of you guys, you're in net doing what goalies do, whatever weird stuff you do. But then the rest of the guys are on the blue line, and I come out on the red carpet with a video tribute, and they got the kids up there. I'm dressed business casual now, and all these guys on the blue line have just seen me running around naked, spray painted as Taz, right?
Yeah. Oh, imagine those guys who didn't know you. Like,
that's what, man, I was.
Guy? And then they see that and they're like, oh, how is that guy? That guy.
How is that guy? Yeah, you're right. But it's the same guy. I just remember
screaming in Rich's face.
Well, that guy,
cycle.
I thought he had to get going that night. I thought he was a little down too. I was just trying to let him know it was game time.
I think I ended up with a shutout, didn't I?
What's that? You had a shutout.
I ended up with a shutout, yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't get man of the match because the GOAT had to win it because he hadn't scored yet. And then we had to do our hug on the ice with me spray painted. Hey, so as a goalie, here's the last question about Wally night, because this is about you, is when you're the goalie and you're working on a shutout and you see Wally waving a flag at the far end of the arena, or was I behind you?
You're at my end. You're in the standing block behind me to my right.
Really?
It was, yeah, you were in the stand. You were in block 13 with all the standing.
So I was behind you. So you couldn't see me.
To my right. No, so what happened is, like, I can remember we scored and the place went nuts, and then it just went more nuts. And I'm like, what the hell is going off? And then I saw like the bench laughing and like pointing, and I looked to my right, and you were just there with a flag with your top off. I'm like, oh my God, that's what's up. So then I'm in my net just watching you like this.
I remember when Todd said on the speaker, yes, folks, that's former Cardiff Devil Brendan Walton topless in block 13. Hey, you only live once, right?
Exactly. You might as well make it fun.
Well, and like for them to do that for me, I've been in the real world for 5 years, been working away and everything's good. But then to just miss the game and miss the guys so much, for them to do that for me, I was like, well, you can't just do all this for me. Like, I'll get your standing section going. Like, I'll help out. Don't worry about that. Like, you can't do all this for me and I don't help, right?
You were just trying to get another free night. That's what it was.
Well,
You just want another free trip to Cardiff.
no,
Free
but
booze.
what's
No,
weird?
I think that's what makes the club so special, though. I think it's like it's people that have been there in this new era, and like you said, like you were the first generation of this team and everything like that. And you think of the bond that we all had, and then the club also they recognize that, and they bring players back like yourselves. And that was probably like my biggest regret about this COVID year, because obviously I leave to go to Graz. I've had 6 years there, but didn't get a proper chance to say goodbye. You know what I mean? It wasn't a chance to say like thank you and goodbye. And it was same for guys like Sean Bentavoli, who played for us as well. Like, he retired, so that's even worse than me. At least at some point I'll probably get a chance. But I think that's just what makes the Devils like so good.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said say goodbye. I actually thought you meant,
that's what I mean.
I thought you meant to say hello. Or welcome back. Sorry. Is that not what you meant to say?
Maybe in a couple of years.
No, but realistically, I completely agree with you. I want you to be abroad. I want you to be the next Tim Thomas. Has there ever, I'm curious because I have that written down on my notes, is obviously you're not sure what's next. COVID has to do with a lot of that, but because I've seen you play, I've seen how big your ass used to be. I don't know how small it is now, and if you can cover the net as much. Maybe you're quicker. I don't know what's better, but you keep winning, and winning gets contracts, winning gets noticed, and then you're on TSN. You might not look like positionally sound when Patrick Kane's shooting on you, but you do save it. So have you ever thought about trying an NHL, like an AHL? Have you ever got offered or talked about an NHL type thing?
No, not really. I think the biggest thing that goes against me is my passport. I think like people just kind of think, all right, British, blah, blah, but I think after the World Championships and the couple of years in the CHL, people start noticing. I think the way that I'd have to go into it is going to the ECHL first if I did want to try that route, or really try for that. And I'm not sure I really want to go to the ECHL if I'm totally honest. So no, I think the end's going to be like just to stay in Europe for another year if we can. Again, like with COVID, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if I don't get to stay in Europe, then it's back to the UK, which I'll still be proud of a career in the UK, and I'd be happy to come back and play in Cardiff for another 10 years if they really want me. So that's one of those things right now. It's in a situation where you want it to be done, you want to know what's happening, but also there's so much uncertainty. There's budgets. Are they going to be slashed? Are they going to be back to normal? Like, a fan's going to be allowed, a fan's not going to be allowed. So it's hard. Like, you want things done, but you're also trying to stay patient. Give it a month or so and things will start becoming clearer. I've also got the World Championships. I could maybe jump at a lower deal now, but then play real in the World Championships and miss out a bigger deal. So it's like hit and miss. It's a weird situation at the minute.
I can't imagine being an active hockey player, which I think you're either the second or third. I don't know if Deeds decided if he's retiring or not, but I think you're one of the first active players, and I can't imagine. I personally thought it was awesome you got that contract in Graz, because those jobs that are Austrian league, which I tried to get to a few times and I got close, and the Swiss B League, but like all these import jobs in the world, like you're competing for those now. You are not just a British goalie. You're competing for like the top jobs in the world. And being a starter for Graz 99ers is way better than being a starter in the East Coast.
Yeah, 100%. That's what people, I think sometimes people don't understand the EIHL, and they think, right, that's next steps like AHL, then NHL or whatever. But the leagues that we're in are better already. So why would you drop down? And I'd rather just play the highest level account for as long.
I think you should continue to spread your wings. I was happy to see it. I think it's been awesome to watch your career from afar, from Canada, from like the real world. And from where I saw you the start of that first year in Cardiff, when like you first shoot on your goalie for the first time in practice, like for me as a scorer, I would have a pretty good feeling of whether or not we had a good goalie or not. And I remember at the start of that season thinking, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think he is ready. I don't know if he's good enough. And then by the end of the year and that Challenge Cup final and the way we were rolling, every time I'd shoot on you in practice, you're kind of like my phase 3 team 2 U9, or no, sorry, Briley Fraser of my age group in Kincardine. Like every time I see this kid play, he's better at being a goalie. He moves better. He's better positionally. And you were like that first year in Cardiff. You were better every week. And it was weird because I had never seen a goalie improve so quickly.
I think it were probably because I had to get my head around it all. Like you come to like the Devils are a storied franchise, even though they've had a bad few years. Like my first ever game I went to watch for a Devils game, Steelers against Devils in Sheffield. And it's like, you come to this team, all of a sudden the pressure's on, there's more social media presence, and everyone's looking at you like, is he good enough? Is he going to be terrible? Is he going to be good? Whatever. And I think it took me a little while just to get my head around it, because you're like, I don't want to blow this chance. Like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be crap. So once I got my head around that and settled down, we're just kind of no looking back.
It
helps when you have a team like that as well.
Man, you did get better. Like every month you were better than the month before, and then you've continued to do that. And for me to get to watch it from here has been really fun. It really has. And I can't wait to see where you sign. And I'm very thankful you came on the podcast today because
yeah, man, looking forward to it. We've been talking about it for ages.
No kidding, man. You're a hard guy to lock down though. But I guess, when you're the big time and the Nottingham Panthers and Deuce, I'm calling you out right now. Way too much hockey, way too much working out. Are you kidding me? I saw the schedule. That's a joke. There's going to be guys injured. There's going to be guys, very upset with you, Deuce. I don't care how many goals you scored in the league. That's too much. And sorry, Bownsy, I got off topic there, but that schedule looked tiring just looking at it.
What would you do if you ended up taking us around the stairs like Lord to the BBT?
Well, I
have DOUCE running it this time.
I retired a long time ago, sir. That's why I just come out to my podcast in my shed and drink beers with my friends. That's all I got to do. And you know what? We got our first hot one out on a beer sponsor. So there could be a chance that I could make money drinking beers with my friends. So there's that.
You're going to push for it.
Well, you got to try, right? So I don't understand why you'd start in the East Coast, but if there's any NHL scouts out there that are still my buddies that are listening, which I know there are a handful of them, wake the F up. And you got Tim Thomas on the podcast right now, and I'm pretty sure he won a Stanley Cup. So if you like winners and you like tramp stamps, then we got your guy right here, eh, Bouncy?
Yeah, probably saving a bit of budget for the first year as well.
Yeah, you take it.
They'll be able to afford Austin Matthews then.
Yeah, hey, PJ, Bomber, and I think that Russell guy that played with us, Cardiff, they're all scouts now. And hey, guys, just so you know, as his new agent, we'll take league minimum just to get him in the door. Okay. We'll take league minimum as a backup, but that's only for 1 year until he gets his chance. right?
As long as they get some sick pads, that's all I'm bothered about.
Well, actually, that's a fun fact is Dave at work here in Kincardine. He's a goalie for the Walkerton Chiefs in the Old Timers League in the loop around here. And he has told me that he knew who you were before we ever talked about you. And it's all based on your fashion. And they say that if you look good, you will, in fact, play good. So I guess that's true, eh?
Yeah, well, you gotta at least feel good. Look good, feel good, play good.
Well, Dave
That's what it
Murray,
is.
Dave, here's your favorite player right here, Ben Bowns. He's on the podcast today, so I took a half day.
And wait until see my next ones. I got some lined up for GB.
They better not be orange.
I'll have to check. I'll have to check.
Oh dear. Well, I'll be very interested that day where it says where you're going for the next season. But I wish you luck with the Nottingham Panthers. I hope that it all goes good and everybody makes money. I do have a random question just because I'm wondering. So you get drafted first overall. And I heard in the Zach Sullivan episode that it was all based on like grants from the government for money wise. Do you still negotiate your contracts for the 5 weeks, or does everybody make the same amount?
No, we get told how much we're making. I don't know if there's a tiered system within the Brits, but I know that the imports get a little bit more than the Brits. Okay. So I think the imports get the highest, and then the Brits are underneath, but I don't know if it's tiered on British age as well. So like the young kids might not make as much as me or like a Jonathan Phillips in Sheffield or something like that.
I didn't realize that you guys were even having imports. I thought once the draft happened, it was game on. And then all of a sudden I see that I see the goalies like signing. I'm like, well, now there's import goalies. Like I thought this was finally your time to shine with letting a GB goalie actually play for once, right?
Yeah, well, we've got me and Jackson Whistle, so we got the two GB goalies, like the 1 and 2 for the last few years, and then the others have got some good GB prospects as well. Like Coventry, have got Jordan Headley.
But so why would you both be on that team, and why wouldn't one of you be on a different team? And we just have a bunch of GB goalies actually getting some shots, right?
Yeah, that would have been ideal. It would have been, in my opinion, if I'd have done it, I would have said each team has to have a British starter. Like just give the guys a chance. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing against import goal. I mean, I was an import goalie for the last year, so but it's just I think it would have been a perfect time to really give people a chance to run and see what you might just like might unearth a bit of a diamond.
Well, and that's the thing. Until goalies get chances, practices are so different than games that I shoot on goalies all the time in practice. That doesn't mean anything. I have a general idea, but until the competitiveness as a game comes out and it's all about winning or losing that game, you realize a lot about a goalie. And I think that's why you've won so much. Like it's not about your tattoo, your body type. Like you stop the puck when the game's on the line. And these GB goalies, if they don't get that chance, how can they prove that? Because you can only practice so much.
Yeah, and then there's all the other factors that go into it, like the crowd, the pressures, like your team might not be performing, or there's penalties. It all rolls into one, and you don't get any of that in a practice. You get none of those external factors, none of those external pressures. So I think that's the big hurdle for goalies to get over when they don't play, and all of a sudden they get chucked in. And then they're expected to be perfect. You're like, well, why would they be perfect? They're going to struggle for a game or two, or they'll play really well to start with because they're on adrenaline. And then as soon as that runs out, boom, you hit your first wall.
Oh, you got to get used to all that stuff. The crowd, the
that's
people.
What makes it fun. I love the crowd. I know there's goalies. Like the partner in Graz, he said he actually preferred it without the fans because there wasn't the external pressure. And I'm like, well, that's what makes hockey fun.
That's
like,
there's what hockey is.
Nothing better than the away fans giving it to you. I absolutely love that. And then when your home crowd gets behind you for me a save or for you a goal or some big hit or whatever, it's awesome.
Oh man, without fans in hockey,
has been terrible. It's horrible playing without fans.
I can't imagine. It feels just like a practice.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not the same.
No.
It's not the same. Like the fans at the Big Blue Tent, they were just as important to that team as the players. The fans of the Big Blue Tent, the year we turned the Cardiff Devils around, like the whole team did, like the fans had as much to do with that as we did, because they did spur us on. It was insane in that arena when we would get going, wasn't it?
Well, you think like just coming out onto the ice, you'd hear the music change, and like the lights obviously go out, and they just hear them banging. I mean, you can remember what that noise used to be like. It used to be wooden stands right above the dressing room, like maybe a bit of beer had spilled through that someone's dropped. Really, like it'd just be banging. I can remember guys just shouting like, here we go, like they want it. And then you come out, and the noise was just. I've never played in a place that's had an atmosphere as intense as that. I don't think it's just because they were on top of you, and then they were like 3 or 4 rows deep at the plexiglass by the time that we finished those seasons. And yeah, it's like you say, as soon as something happened, like teams would be with us, we'd be battling, and then it'd be like a goal or a hit or a fight or a blocked shot or something, and the crowd would just get going, and then that's it. Like 2 or 3 minutes later, we've scored 3 or 4 goals, and you're like, what just happened? And the team's just out. The team's out of it. You're just like, you can't do it.
Yeah, you couldn't stop us when that train got rolling that year. And that arena and the fans, it was mainly the fans. Like I couldn't imagine COVID with the Big Blue Tent, because there is way worse viruses in that arena than COVID, right? Like there had to have been some shit crawling on the walls of that place.
Well, I can remember the floor collapsing in the away dressing room at one point.
Oh yeah, the sinkhole.
Like we had to shower in the away room, wait for them to get out of there because we had no hot water. I can remember one year we turned up with Hull, and there was a big black rat dead in the toilet. I don't know where the hell it come from. It was huge. So the kit guy at the time had to come through from Cardiff and pick it out by its tail and go and chuck it in the bin.
It probably came from DOUCE's ass.
Probably.
Probably shot out that dead rat. You know what I just realized we never talked about that we're almost to the end is that beautiful hat you're wearing, and you started no, like for real, that's a dandy hat, and I would like one. You've started a clothing line. You've had
we did. Go on, I'll let you finish.
No, I'm just saying. So what it's called? Is it Cross Check? No,
that's the one in Sheffield. Don't be giving people.
No, sorry, no. So what's happened? What's happened since I started this podcast is all these clothing lines of hockey stuff started following me, but I only want yours. What is it called?
No, so Cross Check have been going for a while, but no, we're called Coast to Coast because we wanted to keep it hockey related, but I don't want to be fully like just like big hockey designs on the chest and like a lot of the hockey fashion is. So we thought if we do Coast to Coast, one, it relates to hockey, like you had Fawns going coast to coast pretty much every game, or Richie doing it every so often, and so you've got that kind of tie-in with hockey. But then at the same time, if we're doing a surf where it ties in with surf, and then we're also based in Barry, so at Barry Island, right on the beachfront. So we're actually from the coast, so it ties into everything. So that's where the name comes from, and we've been going. We're a year old on the Saturday that's just gone. So we've been going for a year. And I can remember we got all the designs in, we got all the t-shirts ordered, we waited for them, we took delivery. I had all the models lined up, like Marty were going to be in a t-shirt, like yes, like let's get them going. And then COVID hit. So me and Jade ended up having to model the first range.
And you had the goat ready to wear your stuff?
We had the goat all lined up and ready to go, and then COVID hit.
That's gonna sell some stuff, I tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I really like it. I've been seeing it, and I didn't really know the whole story, but it makes sense. So what you're saying is Barry Island's home, and we'll see you for the Cardiff Devils soon. And that orange team can take their money and go fire some imports instead of Ben Bowns.
You're as bad as Steve King.
Am I?
Yeah, you sound like Steve.
Well, I'm part of the team. They just don't pay me.
You should get his employ you as a. Or to be a player liaison or signing liaison or something like that.
Yeah, I think
talk all these guys into signing. I think Steve should do that, and Todd. Get
Well,
Todd
you
on it.
would think they'd throw me a bone at some point here. Like
You'd think so, yeah.
Todd finally told me he would come on the podcast in like a week or two, and I was like, okay, well now you're ready, sure.
I saw him today for the first time in a while, actually.
But no,
He's in Nottingham.
I am a Cardiff Devils ambassador, even though I don't get paid for it. So, but I did get a Wally night, and that's enough payment for me. So whatever.
It's
Right?
better than nothing.
Exactly. Like that's the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened in my life. And 5 years later, you appreciate that, right? When you're done hockey. And
Just wait until it's Wally night too.
I can't wait till we're retiring, not 21, but 33 in the crowd. And like realistically, the success you guys had, there ain't going to be many numbers left in Cardiff soon because you got 33, you got 88, you got 17,
Yeah.
27's iffy. We'll see how he does here with those swamp rabbits. But like there's some guys there that are the core of, and Batchy of, and Matthew Myers of like what you guys have done. And I couldn't be prouder of you guys.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what they do because that's the thing. If they retire all those guys, they're only going to have about 10 jerseys available. There's already a ton retired. So
I tried to have
really
number 10. I tried to have number 19. And then I had to settle for 18 because those two were gone. And then, yeah. But man, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries. It's been fun.
Do you got anything else before I shut down the recording?
No, I think we've covered everything that we need to, apart from your little. I'm pretty sure you've already told that story in Pigs' episode anyway. Because I'm going to talk about your appearance in Sheffield.
The what?
With Thor's hammer. Your appearance in Sheffield with Thor's hammer. I think you've already covered that one. But actually, no. If you haven't, save that for DOUCE's episode.
Well, DOUCE has so many stories with me that it actually doesn't matter. DOUCE has so many stories because he was the one helping me that season when I was injured and I couldn't help any longer. So you know what? I was trying to shut it down just because I had to pee. Why don't you tell the Sheffield story while I go pee?
You can do if you want. I'll try.
You can tell the story, but just remember that they were sensor showers and I had to be like Spider-Man going through the shower so that they wouldn't turn on, because if the showers turned on, people are going to know Wally's there. I'm going pee.
So anyway, we turned up in Sheffield. We had a big game that time. I think I don't know if the guys have been to Brest actually. It's our first game back, and yeah, we had a feeling something was up. Wally had been left in Cardiff, and without us knowing it, made a trip to Sheffield with all the fans on the bus. Obviously had a few too many beers. And all of a sudden we come in after the warm-up and one of the toilet doors is locked. And we're like who's in there? And then Marty just shouted like, Wally, you best not be in there. Just joking around. And lo and behold, Lauder does his little team talk, and the next minute Thor comes out with a hammer. DOUCE comes out dressed as Steeler Dan, and Thor lays the old smackdown with his hammer to Steeler Dan. And then we go out there and we end up winning. So it's all to do with Wally's team talks. Wally's getting us fired up and Thor's hammer's doing his work. I had to drag that out a little bit at the end. I could hear you come back in.
Did you
I got the story down for you.
Did you tell the story?
Yeah, I told the story for you.
Was it the true story?
It was a true story with a bus journey and everything. And
yeah.
Then when Marty shouted, "Wally, is that you in the toilet?"
Was that at Sheffield?
That's in Sheffield, yeah. And then you come out as Steeler Dan. DOUCE comes in dressed as Steeler Dan, and then Thor comes out and lays a hammer.
Yeah, I have that video on my phone.
I didn't give too many details. Yeah, I think I do somewhat.
Yeah, I think there's some videos.
Feel it down. I usually look at it and play it.
Well, if you ever have a bad game and you just need to have a smile, just play that video and remember how pumped up you used to get for hockey games. Because I honestly, I don't know. I thought if I went so crazy with the pregame speeches that I actually thought it mattered, which when you're actually a player, I don't know, but those things I used to do, like I know there's a Steeler Dan one, which is your hometown, but there were some really wild ones that
Yeah.
we did.
The one with Colby were probably my favorite with the Hulk.
Yeah, that's on my phone too.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
The only reason why, and it's because I'm so competitive, the only reason why that's not my favorite is because we didn't win that game. I was 9-0 as a pregame speaker, and Lordo said to me, do you realize what you're doing? Like, if you bring your son into this, like, that means he's getting the flights to Belfast. Like, he's coming to Manchester. Like, if he wins this game, he's in. Like, and then thank goodness we did lose that game, because Colby would have had to go everywhere, and then we would have had to get tickets.
Imagine that.
Do you imagine? And
you'd have to babysit for nights out in Belfast.
Yeah, there's not many times that people in the real world or in the world in general get to do a pregame speech professional hockey team with their 3-year-old son, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we had Hulk and Iron Man.
I did like that one. Yeah, I did enjoy that one.
Well,
just enjoyed anything Colby, really. Bit of a legend, Devil's legend.
Well, and
He'll have a Colby night, even though he's never played for him.
That's very true. He probably could have a Colby night. And like, you imagine if they didn't even invite me and they brought him back.
Just flew him on his own first class.
No, but like, and it was people like you and people like Pigs and people like Carl, Hendo, Deese, like Lordo, everybody on that team made that season what it was. Todd in the front office changed everything. And we had so much fun that, like, hockey wouldn't let go. Like, I was gone for 5 years and I'm like, well, like, I keep getting pulled back towards it, and I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know what to do because I don't fit in anymore. And then now that I've found this, I'm like, I have a way to stay in the game. I have a way to talk to you. I have a way to talk to the GOAT. I have a way to talk to everybody now. And it took me 5 years to figure this out, but I figured it out.
And you're back in a changing room with your background.
No kidding. Like, and yeah, and it's like we're in the UK, not the NHL, where you actually get beers after the game.
Oh, they stopped that towards the end.
Really?
Yeah.
What a
only on a Sunday if we got 4 points.
So you had to win both games on the weekend? We only had to win on Saturdays.
Unless we managed to sneak them in.
And then you probably were only allowed like 1 or 2. The game changes everywhere, eh?
Yeah, recovery menu. Alcohol were minus 25 points.
I remember when we started at Cardiff, they'd bring in the trays of beer and we'd sit in there for hours. We'd be in there. The wives would be ready to go home and we would just not come out. We just wouldn't leave the room.
Well, I never used to drink, but I just stay there and watch what were happening in front of me. These guys just get looser. I just sit there and watch it. It was just as fun for me not drinking.
Yeah, you didn't have to drink to have a laugh in that room.
No, definitely not.
Well, buddy, I'm going to hit stop because I think we've been going forever. Even though I took a half day, we could probably go for 5 hours. But what I did want to say before we end this is that I am very proud of you. I told you that when I came for Wally night, that it's been really fun to watch your career. It's been really fun to watch the GB team. It's been really fun to watch the Cardiff Devils. And it's because you're a winner. It's because you're a good dude. And every guy on that team wants to block the shot for you. They want to get in front of the puck for you. They want to help you as much as you want to help them. And it's because you're a good dude. And that's part of being a goalie. When your team doesn't love the goalie, you just might not eat that one in the face like Richie does, right?
Yeah. You're trying to make me emotional there when you're going through all that.
Well,
but yeah, that's my big belief on it. That's one of the things I said to Doug in Graz when he first told me. I said, I'm not a goalie who's going to scream and be negative. You know what I mean? I need my guys as much as you guys need me. So it's all positive. It's all communications. I need you to like me so that when I need you to bail me out, I'll block a shot on the line or I'll just do something for me. They're going to do it.
Well, and that's winning, is knowing each other has each other's backs and you're all in it together instead of other teams cannot be like that. We were like that. You're like that. That's why you win. And for some reason, this podcast just seems to have a lot of guys that have won stuff that come on. And I don't I guess that's how you keep progressing in hockey and how you keep going to different things is by winning. And that is how you advance, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key to it. All the good guys and the ones that are tight, the tight teams, or whatever you want to call it, just a tight unit. That's key to it. It's cliche, but it's the truth.
Well, and it's the same in the real world. Like in the real world, I'll just say that there's less people that know how a real team works, and you need everybody in it together instead of this or that. And what hockey players learn over their years is invaluable in the real world. But I can't wait till the GB Miracle on Ice comes out in whatever year that'll be. I'll be interested to see which character plays Ben Bowns with the Tramp Stamp, but I can't wait to watch the movie and them to explain why the goalie has a Tramp Stamp.
That should be pretty awesome. You should put that idea forward. Put it forward.
Should I send that out to Disney Studios that maybe we should start the GB 2017, 18, 19, 20, and we got Richie eating pucks. We got Bouncy with the Tramp Stamp. We got Robert Farber scored goals. We got Ben Davies scored goals. I think it could be a movie. I'll be the director.
Start with Disney and then work your way down after that. You might as well start big.
Okay.
Get more budget.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure out what station wants us. Maybe it'll be the same people that pay me to do this. All right, buddy. Thanks so much for coming on. That was awesome.
No worries. Thanks for having me.